So our conversation continues celebrating International Women's Day. We continue with the theme of today as we discuss now digital innovation and technology for women empowerment. Our guest, of course, is Adenike Adeyemi, the Executive Director of the Faith Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us. Good and happy International Women's Day.
Same to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
He for she.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Indeed. I have to, of course, bring back your, in order to start, your white paper from the Faith Institute, of course, your research arm, where I was looking at support for female-driven or female-led
Enabling
SMEs.
female-led businesses to grow sustainably in Nigeria.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so my question on that is, with respect to those female-led businesses, how important, I guess if you take the theme of International Women, how the digital equality plays into that for SMEs?
So thanks, Rotus. If you look at the theme of this year, is looking at digital and innovation as being enablers for driving equality for women. But I'll even add the part of equity and the role that technological innovation can play to help a business, particularly a woman-led, woman-run, woman-owned business, to take the opportunities that technology and innovation can help her to acquire the skills to be able to start and build a business that she wants, to access finance, access markets, access networks, access mentors, and even to understand the policies at play for her space and to enable and be part of it, and even to get data. And that's what digital and innovation does, is reduces the barriers that a woman coming into running a business can face. Because yes, women do face barriers. The barrier to start a business is significantly lower for women, and I can speak mostly to Nigeria, of which we have the data. But the barriers still then remain in terms of growing and scaling the business, and also in terms of accessing funding, particularly at certain levels. And innovation and technology really help with that.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, there was a map in that white paper that looked at where there were the most women-led businesses. I think Gombe, there's the map right there. Gombe, yes. Lagos, a number of states. If we're talking about technology to empower businesses, doesn't internet connectivity come in here? And are you at a disadvantage if you're a woman-led business in a Lagos versus a Gombe? How does that play out?
It plays a huge role in terms of being able to access the opportunities that are available. And I'll give a practical example. In fact, using those two states, there's a program we've run that has been funded and supported by one of the major tech businesses for the last 5 years that allows us to build a program that has digital technology, management for business, and also entrepreneurial knowledge and innovation. And 2 years ago, we ran this in like 20 states, including Lagos and Gombe. And what we even do is we provide data support. And this is a program that we ensure to have 50% female entrepreneurs, usually between the ages of 18 and 40. It's a 6 to 8 week program. And we provide, then it was fully virtual because of the pandemic. And we also provide the internet for free with the expectation that we want them to come, have access to a device and really be able to engage and participate. And we had challenges with the participants from Gombe, not because they did not want, not because they were not interested in being attending, but because of data bandwidth. So even from the initial first few days where they couldn't even turn on their video because of the quality and the power of the internet and the infrastructure, to it then whittling over time. So we then had to resort to other offline means and methods to be able to support them. And what that means is that if locations don't have the digital infrastructure that can enable digital literacy, digital skills building, or even access to information, you're sharing information generally, and because that person has internet issues or challenges, they can then be part of that information, the opportunity that you're then bringing them away. And that's why even in these conversations, we have to talk about the role of policies in terms of providing the infrastructure, the access, and the facilitation of tools, technology, internet, that then enable women to be able to take advantage of digital innovation and technology, because it's not just saying it, but it's providing the enablement for equity. And in those conversations, you then may want to then look at more less urban peri-urban, rural areas that are even limited in their challenges and may not have the opportunities that Lagos as a commercial center or Abuja or Port Harcourt, because you have a lot of corporates there, are having. So when you even see things like right-of-way and some of the other things that we see some states doing, it goes beyond just giving the state, access to digital infrastructure, but it goes to providing empowerment and channels where people are able to get information, resources, and insight that build their business and in turn also build the states or the environments that they're in.
I mean, that couldn't be a more perfect example with the program that you ran. Thank you for that. Okay, so there's, and that really just puts everything clearly out there for everyone. There's a value proposition as well from that report, and I particularly want to ask you about the agility to digital literacy.
Yes.
What does that mean? To be nimble, flexible? What does that mean?
So I think one of the things we said in that map was to show the opportunities that present to invest and support women-led businesses. And part of that, beyond saying that, when you give women money, they are more likely to pay back at the time you want them to pay back the amount than men, was also that women are more agile to digital literacy and knowledge. Even though for a long time, there's been more disadvantage, because when you think about digital knowledge, and I'm very careful not to just think of tech businesses, but to say that in this conversation, it's the entire value chain of women running businesses across board, whether micro, small, and medium enterprises to the much more high growth businesses and the unicorns and the like. And so what we found is that women are curious and interested in technology, and because they have the ability, or maybe because the way nature works, they do so many things at the same time, women really take on to digital literacy knowledge faster. And that is even on the backdrop that you probably will find maybe less than 20% of women in STEM fields or STEM education. But when you give a woman access to a device, when you teach her knowledge around whether it's digital marketing or how to use technology to be able to manage their inventory, their product, or to receive payments cashless, for instance, that they take it on faster with that. And it's important that everybody doing something in this space or supporting women and also encouraging women to do that. A simple example is that if you think of, in this conversation, let's think across spectrum, not just young women, but middle-aged and older women. So the example I was going to give now, if you think of your moms or aunties, who uses WhatsApp more?
Right.
Is it the men or the women?
Gotcha.
The women will do that. Yeah. And they're the ones that, you'll see on Facebook and all of that. So one of the things we've realized is that even in our programming, in our design, for everything that we do, we also see these trends and you say, okay, if women take on to, for instance, a platform like WhatsApp faster, let's use that as a channel to be able to build community, engage, and pass on information. If they take on to channels like YouTube because they go and watch videos, let's make sure that we pass information and knowledge through those platforms that they're able to understand and use and appreciate. But yes, women's agility to quickly take on digital literacy, even when they've been advantaged to access it, is a problem. But to support them, you take on that as a strong value proposition to better enable them and use insights across whatever area you want to help them to support their business.
Great stuff. So who's teaching? I mean, is it you, Faith Foundation? Is it government? Or, you mentioned YouTube, self-help? Who's doing the teaching for digital
All of the above. We definitely run different programs from our Aspiring and Emerging Entrepreneurs program that we've been doing this for 23 years and counting. But it's the same way you map the education ecosystem. What the government does is, from a policy perspective, should provide the open field where you look at what is the standard curriculum. So the charge for government will be to say that at our educational system across board, from primary school up to post-university, what is the element of digital knowledge and literacy in that, and how do you encourage and facilitate players? Particularly not just private sector, but public schools, public school education, and government, not just at the federal level, but at the state level. Then even in terms of the areas of organizations like ours that teach and support entrepreneurs, you're saying that you have to be able to find a way to help them to think of digital literacy, not just in digital marketing, which people think of social media, but just in how can I understand my knowledge, how can I design and build my business to be able to adapt that. I'll give an example for one of our entrepreneurs, Saudat Salami, who runs a business called Easy Shop, Easy Cook. She saved me during the pandemic and during these cashless prices, because what she does is also creates businesses for other women in the value chain that sell pepper, tomato, egusi, onions. And then for somebody like me, I order my food and services from her business. And then, I don't have to go to the market to be trying to transfer money. And so in understanding that women, we need to present the knowledge and the training in a way that allows women-owned businesses, women-led businesses to use digital knowledge and literacy across the different aspects of their businesses to get money, to create a business plan, to be able to access their market, know where their potential customers are, understand the data, or to even manage their businesses offline and online.
And I wanted to quickly take a look at the white paper also listed some challenges, and we've had you on to talk about the challenges, access to finance, mindset. What is the, as we look at the list of the challenges, what's the most troublesome one to get
would always be access to finance.
Okay.
Because there are more financing opportunities for women. I would say that they've come more increasingly and very targeted at women-led and women-owned businesses. But growth finance continues to be a challenge. I always go back to the SMIDAN data that looks at how, yes, we do have women in business, but a lot of them are nano and micro businesses. But when you look at the high growth businesses, you have less than a quarter that, of women-run businesses at the growth stage. You also look at even tech businesses where you look at those that have access funding, and still less than 10%. I think about 6.5% as at 2021. And so you're then saying, what are the barriers to women accessing financing? The institutional and cultural barriers. She goes to a bank, she wants a loan, the bank is asking for collateral, but there are cultural issues and policy issues that make it harder for a woman to own landed property. And if she can't own landed property, she can't present C of O for that. The other thing is around ownership, right? And the woman comes, she said, well, I'm the one that founded this business and lead the business, but the finance institution say you don't own the business fully, because when you needed money, you had to maybe get from your husband, your brother, other people, and they took about 50 to 60% of the business. So yes, you founded the business, you run the business, but you can't do that. And so even in the knowledge that digital literacy also creates, is that creating different channels of learning, of information that help them understand what the barriers to them raising finances. But on the other hand, and one of the things that technology does is that it provides data and insights. And we've always touted this data around how women are more bankable than men, but we're not using that data.
Right.
We're not using that information to then redesign funding programs. The other angle is also then saying that what are the other forms of innovative financing that you can use? Because at the end of the day, most women and most entrepreneurs just want to be able to sell their products and services. And so if cash is a problem to give out, can you provide access to market? Can you provide platforms where they're matchmaking platforms for people that want to sell their products, their services, and then for them to meet with buyers? Or what are the things that business wants to finance? Is it equipment? So rather than giving cash, provide some sort of arrangement for equipment financing or equipment purchase that then reduces the need for the women to have cash. So thinking of innovative ways to bypass some of the issues that we've seen. They're not new issues, we see them there, so that when we're saying that, digital technology innovation provides us insights with data, we're using that data to address the problems that we've seen, we've known, and then really, really move the needle.
You guys are doing great work, and it's always a pleasure having you to talk
Thank
about
you for
these.
having me.
We're going to have you more, not just on
No
International Women's Day. The Executive Director of the Faith Foundation, Adenike Adeyemi, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
really appreciate
Rutus.
it.
Thank you so much.